What's up? Doug Cunnington here. This is the Q&A session. We're going to talk about Amazon affiliate marketing. We're going to talk a little bit about smart passive income and productivity as well. So I didn't schedule this particular live session as early as normal, but I expect as I've learned over the last couple of weeks, it takes a few minutes for people to hop on. So it's good for me to have a couple things prepared. Today, I'm a little slow, so I'm a little tired. My friends and I played in a curling tournament. It was a curling match last night, and we go to bed early. Most of us go to bed early, but this tournament didn't start until like 8:30, and we didn't leave the ice arena until something like 11:45. So I'm a little tired, but I drank a lot of coffee. I have some more coffee right here. I got the Four Sigmatic coffee mushroom thing. So that's kind of cool. Got a couple things I want to announce. Number one, and I know we have a few people on. Let me know if you could hear me and stuff. Hopefully we'll have our kind moderators, some friends of mine that help me out soon. And I see we have Pranay and Alexander. What's up? Good to have you on. If you have questions, feel free to start asking them in the chat, and I'll hop over to them back and forth. A couple quick announcements, and I'm trying to put like better descriptions in the description to be redundant. So a couple things I want to point out, a couple good videos that are getting traction. One is creating a niche site, and the other is a site that I created, made 70K in a year last year. So I share some of the stories and details around those. Those are really, they're pretty good. I put a decent amount of time into each of those videos. And like I said, they're getting a little traction. So if you have the ability to, watch the videos, leave a comment on there, perhaps watch the whole darn thing so the metrics are good, that kind of stuff helps me, and hopefully it'll help you too. Like I said, there's good nuggets of information in there. The other thing I want to mention before we get started too far, and I'm probably going to mention it like 8 or 10 times, and that is the productivity course, right? So the productivity course is out right now. It is a beta version, so it's limited. I'm only allowing a certain number of people in. Additionally, it's kind of cool to see the inner workings of a course. So that could be a valuable thing, and hopefully the link works here. Sometimes these links are screwy inside YouTube, but it works. So if you're interested, there's more information on the link, and there's already probably a number of people that have that are going to be in the chat that like go ahead and they're already in the course, right? So as I mentioned, check out the couple videos, and if you're interested in being more productive, like most people are, check out the course and see if it's for you. The other thing, I saw a couple questions are coming in, so I'll go ahead and get to those. Alexander says he has a lot of questions. I need to drink a lot. So yeah, I think today is a day where I'm probably going to like overwhelm my body with caffeine. So cheers. I did have a few beers last night, I won't lie. And I have a new toy. It's this Ye4K. One of our friendly moderators, Marcel, actually sent a little an Amazon gift card just to say, hey, here's a gift, Doug. And I put some of those proceeds towards this Ye4K action camera. So I wore like a harness last night to get some footage of the curling. So hopefully some of it'll turn out, but that'll be on the YouTube channel sometime in the future. So, okay, cool. A couple of the questions. I'll hit a couple questions, and then I'm going to talk about Pat Flynn and smart passive income for a moment. Again, just to buy us some time as some more people hopefully join up on this thing. And Sharon's on as well. So J&K says, for text affiliate links, do you have them open in a new tab, or do you feel that's a bad user experience? I usually have them open in a new tab. Not always. It's hard to say, right? I think some users prefer one thing over another, and we can't really guess what they want to do. But I know a lot of times if I click to open a link and I'm interested in learning more, I don't necessarily want to lose my spot. So for me, I often prefer to have a link open in a new tab. In fact, I basically open all links in a new tab because I don't want to lose the page that I'm on. So, I usually hold down the command key and click whenever I open a link, so it opens in a new tab. That's just kind of my style, but it's kind of a preference for you, and I don't think there's a right or wrong way. Charles is on. What's up? Pranay says, "Do I use backlink services from the Hoth, and can I please share your experience?" So I have in the past. I haven't in the last 12 months or something like that. The Hoth service, I'm an affiliate, by the way. I didn't put any affiliate links, but I am an affiliate. So if you happen to have purchased through my link or something, then I would get a commission. The Hoth service is fantastic. If you know what you're doing, the gray hat activities, the gray hat links are fine. They're great. They're what you need if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, I would avoid them. If you want to have a white hat site, I would avoid the gray hat services. They do, however, have many other services, including, you know, content. They do white hat, outreach is the way they brand it. They have PBN links if you want PBN links, and just I think it's a full service like SEO package. So I would recommend Pranay to give it a shot, and if see how the results work for you. I've heard some mixed results for like their guest posting service, but I've never used it personally. So the mixed results that I heard were generally that some of the links looked really good, some of them didn't look as good, some of the sites didn't look as good, but overall it seems like the person was satisfied. As far as the results, I can't comment on that because I'm not sure. Waquez is on. What's up? Daniel, good to have you on. And Wallace, cool. J&K says, after a bit of time, don't go back to old articles and clean up the writing and quality and extend the link. Yes, to all of those. Okay. And then Alexander says, how do you handle the situation when a site is new and you're in the Google sandbox? You may be there for a long time. And Georgie is barking. My wife is off from work today. So Georgie hears her talking over there. Okay, you want to go out there? Go ahead. And it's the magic of being live. So sorry about that. It happens from time to time. All right. So how do you handle it? So the thing is, Alexander, it's usually 6 months. So just do the work, because basically if you do work like each day for the 6 months, things will be fantastic once you get out of the sandbox. But if you do a little bit of work for maybe like 6 weeks and then you don't touch it until after you get out of the sandbox, it'll be kind of good, but not great. So, but if you continue to work for the whole 6 months, it'll be fantastic. And generally, if you just use the keyword golden ratio, the sandbox doesn't like hurt you as much. In fact, just the other day, a student in the 5-figure niche site course said he hit $100 and his site was just 7 months old. So, and Georgie has pushed the door back open. She returned. She likes to sleep under my desk, which is cool most of the time. All right. Next, we have Green Engineer says, what is my bounce rate and my average session duration? So this is a hard question to answer because I don't check my stats all that much. I think my bounce rate is fairly high. I think it's a little higher than I would kind of prefer. I think it's like 80%, 80 to 90% is pretty high. Average session duration, I'm not sure. The thing is, I have a few sites. Some of the content is short form, quick sort of answer, keyword golden ratio type content. Other is long form. So to just give a blanket answer doesn't really paint a real picture. So think you have to understand what the purpose of the certain piece of content is, and then you can have like the data means more, right? The data isn't very it doesn't give you the context. So I think if you just look at the average session duration, it's probably like a minute for a lot of the content, but for others, it's like 8 minutes, which is a super long time. So it just depends overall. Pranay says, do you any paid? Uh, I think what Pranay is asking is, it's like a riddle. It's like a riddle for me. Do I recommend any services? Check out the Hoth and test them. The only way to know, Pranay, is to test and see what results you get. I would say if you're trying to outsource like SEO services, it's really easy to pay a lot of money and not get any good results. I see it over and over again because it's super easy for a service. It's a great business model. I got out of it because it felt slimy. But basically, if the results don't come through, they could blame it on you. There's so many excuses. Like SEO service doesn't have to deliver at this scale, right? I mean, if it's a higher end service, they need repeat clients and stuff like that. But I mean, there's a lot of people that, you know, they learn a little bit about SEO. They set up some like PBNs. They have like a working knowledge of SEO. They'll start selling services, but they don't really know what they're doing. And I did this when I first got started because I was just learning things, right? And I actually like took on a local client who had like a fitness website, and I was helping him on a specific keyword. And this was like within 6 months. Now that I look back, it's crazy that I ended up with this client for a short period. But within 6 months, I was like doing SEO services. I saw him in a Starbucks, heard their conversation going on, and like exchanged information. He wanted me to do some work for him. The point is, it's really easy for people to like sell the service and not have to deliver. Meanwhile, you've wasted a bunch of time, probably several $100s or several $1,000s, and the results didn't come through. For my story, I helped the guy move up a little bit, and then his site ended up getting penalized because this was back in the day when there were all these different like gray hat techniques that were getting shut down. And he had so many terrible links out there that it was remarkable. Like not any that I built, but he was doing some pretty shady stuff. And that's just the way it was back then. So overall, Pranay, check out the Hoth. I know they're good folks there, and see how they are. Additionally, I mean, there's other links in my description. I link to like content services and keyword services in my description, but I know like Content Refined, if you click around there, I think there are some potential like backlink things that you could work on. And then Humanproof Designs, I know a lot of people follow Dom and his team there. They're fantastic. I've never used any of their link building services, but they have like a link building service. So I would check them out. I trust them. Like I said, Dom's a friend of mine, and I know the people at Content Refined, Andrew and John. So like those folks are good people. And then at the Hoth, Clayton is a person I've known for a few years as well. So service-wise, they're great, right? I trust them. As far as results, I've never used any of them. Okay. I see some questions continuing to come through, and I just want to make sure before I'm not 100% sure if we have any moderators on. Do we have any of our friendly moderators on? There's a few, but I haven't like set a schedule or anything. They're just there and as a friendly, friendly thing for me. Okay, I'm going to digress just a minute here. So this is a Pat Flynn book here, Will It Fly? And I got this for free. I went to the Converted conference and Pat Flynn spoke. Fortunately, I didn't get to meet him. That was one of the main reasons I was going, is to meet him. But he set up his meetup and scheduled it after I had like he scheduled it late, right? He scheduled it like a week before the conference or so. And I had to like hunt down and find the information. And then it was for after I was already going to be gone. So I didn't get to meet him. His talk was pretty good. And this is his book. It's pretty good. I haven't actually gone through everything. I've actually skimmed a lot of it, and I think there's a lot of information that I'm probably familiar with. But I think this is one that I'm probably going to tackle pretty soon and talk about it. So anyway, I found the Smart Passive Income in 2013, and I was, unaware of anything online back then. And I learned everything from the first like 60 podcasts. And then I got started, and I happened to be looking back through some records or files. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think I had like a domain that was coming up for renewal or something. And I saw the first domain that I purchased. If I remember right, it was like April 14th, something like that of 2013. So that means like really within 6 weeks, like I already launched a site, which is crazy because I didn't know what I was doing at all. Okay. As I'm going down, there's a lot of the new questions through here. Okay, I can tell. All right, I'm gonna have to just get closer to the microphone. One consequence of the curling tournament is, well, I drank some beer, and then a lot of times the brewery tap room is a little loud. Hard for me to project my voice, but then in curling, you're yelling back and forth. So my voice sort of hurts. I'm just going to get closer. Everybody can still hear me. Okay. It just sounds creepy. Like I'm whispering, which is just the price we're going to have to pay, I guess. Okay. Matthew says, has anyone noticed an item selling a lot and then suddenly stop? One really popular item was selling well, but then nothing in a month. You know what? I've never looked at that. I've never looked that closely, man. I have no idea. I'm sure it happens though. Jane K says, what do you mean by the Google sandbox? So there is a concept that it's a theory. It seems pretty solid anecdotally that if you start a new site, or even if you get an old site that hasn't been, published, like an old domain that hasn't been published on or been active in a while, it takes about 6 months for Google to start ranking the site well. It doesn't mean you can't rank for some terms, and it doesn't mean you can't just overcome the sandbox. But in general, what happens is after 6 months, like your rankings will tick up a little faster and your traffic will tick up a little faster. So I've seen it across the board. And then the thing that makes it like much easier to believe is a number of like, I guess, audience members, people on my email list, people that watch these videos. They'll shoot me an email and say, my traffic went up in between like month 6 and month 7. And it was like to the day. 6 months later, their site started making or started pulling in way more traffic and their revenue went up. So pretty much 6 months is kind of the benchmark. Matthew says, same traffic source for your question, same people coming to the site with the same searches. You wonder if the reports are right sometimes. Yeah, I would say there's not probably a huge amount of value tracking that closely. I mean, you could get some good data. I don't know. There's just so much data that I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would just drive you crazy. Now, it could be interesting if you find that like people are buying a lot of a product which you're not reviewing at all. Maybe then that could be valuable. But it sounds like you're already selling a lot. And the other thing is, I know we've exchanged a couple emails and stuff, Matthew. I think your data sample is too small to make any real conclusions. Okay. And Peter's on, what's up? J&K just hit 100 months with your first site, just over 3 months old, getting about 10,000 page views a month. That's awesome. Hey, J&K, send me an email and tell me a little bit about it if you have some time over the next week or so. Would definitely be interested in hearing more. Danish, what's up? Nick, good to have you. Suppa, cool. Danish says, is it fine to start a niche site with just 10 articles? It's not only just fine, but that's exactly what I recommend. Sharon says, Neil Patel says that keywords can be seen in Google Analytics in the Search Console on one of his videos. Is that old info, or do you know how to find that? You've looked and you don't see keywords. So the interesting thing with Neil Patel is, I'm not sure, I could be totally wrong, but I feel like he may be at such a high level that he's not a practitioner of this stuff anymore. So you can see a couple keywords in Google Analytics, but back in the day, you used to get basically all the information that you could see all the keywords that you were getting traffic for and the pages that they were going to. Now you could see like 2% of that information. So you should ask Neil Patel, because if he knows how to do it, then he should tell us. But I think the other way to actually get that data would be around if you actually ran AdWords. I think if you run AdWords, then you get data on your ads. Michelle says, do I think the pet niche is too competitive? You've been using KGR, but the all-in titles seem high even with breed specific searches. Well, I know about actual pets like dogs, like Georgie, but as far as the niche, I don't know. But based on what you just said, maybe. I think at this point, you're more of an expert than I am in the pet niche based on the research that you've done. So I would say maybe. It's hard to say. The other part is there's so many breeds out there that it is, I mean, you should be able to find some. But the other part is I know like Perrin, who used to work at Niche Pursuits and now is at Authority Hacker. He did I guess eventually people found out about his site because it was covered on Backlinko. I think he like shared his story with Brian Dean, so it was there. People found it, so a lot of people got into the pet niche. Now, it doesn't mean it can't be profitable or anything. It just means there's more people in it. And Nick reminds us to hit the like. Okay, quick announcement before I get into more questions here. The quick announcement is if you're interested in being more productive, you should probably check out my productivity course. So there's a link in the description. It's a beta. It's only going to be open until the end of the day tomorrow. So if you want to be more productive and if you want to work with me on the course and the material that's in it, then this is a great way to do it. It's way more economical than the 5-figure niche site course, which is honestly quite expensive, but this is under $100. So if you're interested, take a look. It's cheaper now if you're a beta member versus later in the future. And if you join in the beta, you'll get access to basically the highest end of the course moving forward. So I had a set of pilot folks that went through in December, about 15, and they're getting access to the new material that I've added based on their feedback, right? So they're grandfathered in and they're good to go. So you'll be in the same situation as them as a beta member. The other part is if you do like the video, how about this? If I answered your question, just hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, helps people find it. And a cool thing, when I logged on today, I saw that the chat is now going to be available for the replay. So people that watch this later will be able to see the chat. So I'm told from the little info box that I saw in YouTube. So that's kind of cool, right? All right. Next, Peter says, are articles with a good KGR but a small topic worth it? 500 to 600 word articles. In general, I would say yes, but it's always hard to tell. I think if you did, if you picked just one and tried it, it would be like a 50-50 chance, But if you did like 20 articles, you would probably have some really good results for a couple of them. I bet some of them wouldn't rank at all, and the majority would probably get a little traffic. So yeah, it'd be worth it. J&K says you would moderate. Okay, cool. I will keep that in mind. We'll see how it goes if I start losing losing the battle. Okay, MMJ, what's up? Jeff is on. Good to have you on. You're trying to hit 25 articles in a month. Like you're on track. The ad pumped you up. Yeah, it's funny that so I did this retargeting for Facebook and Instagram, and I guess like the general network of Facebook ads, and it converted really well. I mean, retargeting is nice. The funny thing is, I didn't hear much from anyone. Occasionally, someone would have mentioned they saw my ads out there, but yeah, in the last day and a half, so I talked to a few people yesterday, and they're like, "Hey, man, we saw your ads." I talked to Alex Cooper over at WP Eagle. Did a couple interviews. Going to publish those in the next couple weeks, by the way. And then I was talking to my friend Mackenzie, and she said she saw the ad too. Now Jeff mentions it also. Jeff's question is mass adding content a good strategy on an established domain? Yes. And I will point you out. I'll point everyone out to the link for the 70K site. What is it titled? A niche site that made 70K in 12 months. It made a lot more than that. And if you expand it out to actually, I should do this. I think it made like 100K in 14 months or something like that. So a little bit, if you extend it a little bit farther, it did pretty well. But the point is, if you watch that video, Jeff, and please do, everyone watch the video. Please watch the video. Just check it out. Leave a comment, say, hey, that's super interesting, or whatever you think. If you think it's dumb, you could also say that it's dumb. Respect that as well. But basically, I just added a crap load of content. So yes, it's a very good strategy. Barry is on. What's up? Matthew says, yes, the data sample is too small. Yeah, for sure. Danish says, how many words of an article do you write for guest posting? I feel like a lot of my answers are stupid because it's as long as it needs to be. So you need to check with whoever allowed you to guest post. Sometimes, well, you should just ask for guidelines. Like, hey, I see a lot of your articles are about 500 words. Do you want me to write about 500 words? You could just ask, right? It shows like insight and you're investigating. If all their articles are like 2,000 or 3,000 words, then you should probably aim for something like that. But the best way to handle it is to just ask, like, do you have guidelines on like how long you want it to be or anything like that? And Alexander says, you always answer, or I always answer the questions. So you'd like, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, again, if I did answer your question, please like the video. So yeah. All right. Jeff says some of them take a while about the content to pick up, but you do get the overnighters. Yeah, for sure. That's on the keyword golden ratio. J&K, what is the email address or where can you find it? So I can email some info. It's doug@nichesiteproject.com, and you could just email me there. And QDog says, hi, Doug. Hope all is well. Thanks. Do I aim for a specific domain authority when guest posting? No, I don't. Not at all. I don't even look at it. Okay. So we're moving on. Any other questions? Is slowing up a bit. It's a little bit smaller crowd than normal. I wonder, I know a lot of people watch the replays, but I guess if I schedule these earlier, some people see them more. I'm not 100% sure. I have been experimenting going back and forth, but I think that I think it's probably that maybe people actually see that I've scheduled them and then they know to show up. Okay. Jeff, see you later. Thanks for hopping on. Sharon says, how does the editor edit my video? Do I send the video or what? Yeah. So I think she uses Adobe Premiere, and basically I upload the file to Google Drive folder, and then let her know that it's ready. And then she edits it and then puts it into a finished folder in the same, like a subfolder within the same folder. It's automatically uploaded to YouTube, and then I could handle it from there, or someone can handle it from there. So yeah, I upload the video and then she edits it. Super simple. Daniel says, do I submit the guest post link for indexing, um, or do you use some service? I do neither of those things. You really don't need to do that. Yeah, you don't need to do that at all. Adam is on. What's up? And Danish, if you have other context around that, let me know. But there are like indexing services out there, but I don't think they're really necessary. Russell says, is there a certain WordPress theme that I like? Not really. No, but here's the thing. I ignore a lot of stuff. So I ignore keyword research tools, and I ignore themes and plugins in a general sense. But I realize people ask me about that all the time. So in March, I haven't announced this yet, but in March, I'm actually going to do a lot more videos of like demonstrations where I like go through a keyword research tool. I'll probably do several of them. So in fact, if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments, like what keyword research tools do you want to see me review? In the chat, let me know as well, because it'll sort of help me determine. Additionally, there are a few like Amazon affiliate themes that are oriented to that type of site. I don't think they're necessary, but if you want to have them, that's fine. Additionally, if there are certain themes, let me know that you want me to like review and check out. I'll have a look at them. So just let me know what you want to see. But most of the time, if I just had to tell you, Russell, if you're looking at themes, I would opt for the simpler one across the board. Like a simpler one is probably going to be a little bit faster. A theme and like a theme company that I don't like that much is Thrive, just because it's so bloated. The customer service is not great from my experience. But you know what? I'll probably still review that theme because it's so darn popular. There are some great things that they do like overall, and they have like a full suite, a full package of like products. So they have like opt-in stuff. They have like it's like an evergreen, it's called Ultimatum, like an evergreen funnels thing. And they have like landing pages. They have like a good suite of products, but like when I've used it, it's impractical. And then when I try to get help from their customer service, it was very slow. And I actually asked for a refund because they were so slow to get back to me. And a lot of times the customer service, if there was some issue, they just told me to disable all my plugins, or they did it for me if I gave them access to my site, which I stopped doing. They said, yeah, there's some conflict. Just turn off all your plugins, just run our stuff, which is preposterous, right? That's insane. So anyway, simple themes is what I would opt for. Okay. J&K says, on my niche sites, what percentage of the posts do I publish with no affiliate links? No clue. Probably a very small number of them. You read a bit about the Fred algorithm impacting sites where every article has affiliate links. Okay, interesting. That hasn't been an issue on my site, but I could imagine that it could be on certain sites. And I would say, you know what? Go check out like the Wirecutter, and then see if you could find an article that doesn't have an affiliate link in it. And that should tell you that it isn't just having an affiliate link. There's other factors in there, most likely. Quality of the content, and I don't even know, but quality of the content and just other factors. So it's probably not just affiliate links. Barry says you're making 140 per month now. Will scaling up the content by hiring writers help increase the income? I would say, I think from your other questions, I know that you're in the tech area, Barry. If you if you do it the right way, then I would say probably yes. So if you're adding content that could help, you know, bring in buyers, that's good. If it just brings in, arbitrary traffic, not so helpful. And Barry, I know you know that, but other people necessarily don't. So that's why I'm mentioning it. The context is very important for all the answers to these questions. So that's why, like I said, I feel like my answers are dumb because because the answer is usually it depends or maybe, which feels like it's not helpful. But I hope that the context that I provide around it is helpful. So Barry, yeah, if you add more content, then probably. And I would say, I was talking to one of my students yesterday for Five Figure Niche Site, and he was ranking number one for a term. Which is good, right? It's fantastic. And he was getting some traffic, making like $40 a month or something. I told him to add like triple the content on that page. Now that seems counterintuitive, right? What do you think in the chat, and what do you think in comments? Let me know. So I told a person they're ranking number one. I told them to like triple the content on that page. Am I crazy? Why did I tell them to do that? If I am crazy, it's not because I told them to do that. Here's why it can be helpful. And I've done this a couple times with very good results. So that page is already liked by Google, right? It's already liked by Google. And if you can add more like to the word count, it's written well and everything. Like you got to make sure you're adding value. If it's already doing well, Google already likes the page. If you make it better, you'll probably pull in more long tail traffic. So if you triple the word count, you're probably going to get more traffic on that page. So Barry, to answer your question, yeah, will scaling up the content increase the income? Probably. You could probably increase the traffic. There's a lot of different ways to scale content too. So don't forget, you don't have to add new articles. You could just add to the stuff that's already there. You could just add to the stuff that's doing well. So for example, if you have a site with like 100 posts, if you're like, oh, I need to add 50% more words to every single post, that's a little overwhelming. But what if instead you just pick the 10 most trafficked posts, and then you really like worked on those 10? That would probably be a better use of your time. So adding, instead of 50% more word count overall, you add like, I don't know what the math is. If you add like whatever it is, like 450% more to each one of those other articles, then that's probably much better. So I should have made the numbers easier. But that's hard to follow anyway. It's not 450%. It's like 4,000% or something like that. Adam says, do I use Aweber and Opt-in Monster? Yes, that's correct. Oh, Furhan says, you want me to review SERPstat and see how well it compares. Awesome. Thank you. You've mentioned it before, but I forgot to write it down. Let me put it SERPstat. SERPstat. Okay. Danish says, how do you increase the page authority of a web page to which you have a guest posted an article? All right. So number one, Danish, you should probably look at your real goal. So your real goal is you want to improve the rankings and authority on your own site. The page authority is just a metric that's frankly not that good of one. So if you just want to, I'll answer your question straight up, but I think you're asking the wrong question. And I think you should think really about what you're trying to do. If you want to increase the page authority of a web page and you don't care how, then I would probably go to a company like the Hoth, and I would probably buy like one of their Hoth Platinum packages like a Web 2.0 and just blast the web page, that URL, with a page authority. But I think, again, you should really think about what you're trying to do. And if you're just trying to increase the page authority, that's like I don't know what word to use that's appropriate, but you're chasing your tail. Like, who cares what the page authority is? What you really want to do is probably get more links to that article though. So however you want to do that is what you need to do. JK, thanks for the email. I'll check it out in the next few days. Good to have you on, D-Card. What's up? Russell, awesome. Glad you found the answer helpful. D-Card says, I'm right about Fred. It was just an update to Panda or some algorithm. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I didn't investigate Fred too much. It seemed to really hit like thinner affiliate sites, but yeah, I mean, just, I guess, be sure, JK, like, you understand like, people write a lot of stuff. That is the bad thing about sort of the marketing area. People write a lot of stuff about like just one single case study without any other context. Hey, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, some of my videos omit certain like full context because there's only so much if you try and explain everything. But I do try and paint the whole picture. If you take a look at a couple videos, I mean, usually I do leave the impression that there's a lot of work to do and your results may vary. Other people may tell you, hey, just do this thing and it'll work, which they were only able to get it to work like 1 out of 10 times. And they only tell you about the one that was successful. Sharon says, how can you tell if you have a good call to action without having a lot of traffic yet? I don't know. I probably wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, if you don't have any traffic, you could ask people what they think. But I would say in general, it's probably good to not be misleading. That's probably good. Daniel, Daniel says, after getting some backlinks, more LSI keywords on the page, and that'll help it rank for more competitive words. Yes, totally. Yep. And that is in reference to adding more content to an existing post. Daniel, yeah, you got it exactly. Barry says, that's a great answer. That'll help you stay number one once you made it to number one. Yep, for sure. Danish says, how long does it take for you to see results after you submit a couple guest posts? It could be 2 weeks, or it could be 2 or 4 or 8 months, or never. So it's really hard to answer, and it's really hard to look at this stuff in isolation, because frankly, no one is just doing a guest post and then just like waiting to see when it takes hold. They're usually doing like multiple guest posts. They're doing other activities as well. And it's really hard to isolate the impact. Plus, back in the day when I first got started, when I was using like PBNs, which I don't use private blog networks anymore, but you could add a link and the rankings would change in like couple days, like sometimes overnight. And if it moved up a little bit, but not as much, you could adjust the anchor text and then see what happened. And it would take like 1 or 2 days. It was crazy. And because the results were so quick, it allowed people, SEOs, to, take advantage of, I guess, like the results and the data that they were able to obtain in a quick fashion. However, nowadays it takes longer, and there's some randomness factor in there as well. Some people speculate there's some randomness factor. So like, you may add some guest posts and they may push your rankings down for a few weeks. And then if you do anything crazy, like try and remove the links or try and raise the, PA for a specific page that you just published, well, that's going to raise a red flag, and they may leave you down there for a while. That's sad. Or what could happen is, if you don't do anything, you'll move up higher than you were and you actually get the impact. So to answer your question is, I don't know. I have no idea, man. I don't know. Okay. J&K says, if you remember right, Tung from Cloud Living primarily blamed Fred for his public case study for losing much of his traffic. He believed he had too many affiliate links and cleaned them up. And J&K, what is I feel like you made a statement, but what's the conclusion of that? So he cleaned them up. Then what happened? Did the traffic come back? And I remember, like, if people haven't checked it out, Tung put out this case study, and he was going to make 10K a month. And he did a public case study, which I think is like a mistake. I've never seen one work out well for anyone. The income school guys seem to be doing all right with it. So maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, I'm not sure. It sure sounded like from the early material that Tung was putting out about the case study, it sure sounded like some of the early links were kind of suspect. I'm not 100% sure, but he left a lot of gaps in how he was implementing stuff. He was trying to sell, like he's trying to sell his course, right? He's trying to sell a course. So he leaves out a lot of information where I feel like I hope I differentiate myself by providing a lot of info, right? If you have a question, you probably can Google it, or sorry, search it in YouTube and find a video on it. And I provide a lot of detail. There's very little that I hold back. Just stuff that's like too deep that would lose people. Okay. So anyway, JNK, let me know. It sounds like there's not a conclusion to your statement. Adam says, how many links should you put in a guest post for it not to seem suspicious by Google? I don't know. I think it depends on, okay, again, the context of the question is very important. So your fear or your question is centered around drawing suspicion to Google. I don't think you should worry about that. You can put in as many links as you want. Your problem will be the person that you're sending the guest post to. So if you put in a bunch of links, they're going to think you're a jackass, and they're not going to leave your links in. They're probably not going to publish your post. So just be cool. Put in like, 1 or 2 or 3, something like that, So Adam, that you don't have to worry about Google. You have to worry about the person publishing your links. So that's my thought. So just be cool, be respectful of their blog, and you should be okay. Cedic says, you have a ClickBank site, you're targeting some KGR words, but they're not buyers' keywords, like how to cure and best foods for blank. And you finish the article by pitching the ClickBank product. That's very cool. Let me know how it turns out. It doesn't sound like there's a question in there or anything like that. Next, Green Engineer says, what's the standard conversion rates? How to improve it? Okay. I don't think there's a standard conversion rate. A lot of the averages that I've seen, I'm going to make some assumptions about your question, then tell you some answers. I'm going to assume you're asking about an Amazon affiliate site, though you don't state it there. If so, I would say the conversion rate that one would see on Amazon is probably going to be in like the, I don't know, like the 5 to 7% range or so, around that average. It totally depends on like the price point of the products, the kind of keywords you're targeting, and like a million other things. That said, mine are often in the 10 to like 13% range, just because of the kind of content that I have. So other people's, right? Like the site that was in Project Go White Hat. If you're unfamiliar with Project Go White Hat, well, you're in for a treat. Go check out the videos on it. There's like 13 blog posts about it, but basically the conversion rate on that site was like 4.5%, 5%, but it got so much more traffic. So the traffic that site got was not as targeted, but it had so much more traffic and made a lot of money. How to improve your conversion rate? It's too general of a question. It's not a good question for this format, but I would say make sure you have strong calls to action. And if you want to improve your conversion rate, You should make sure you have the right kind of traffic, people that are actually going to purchase something. And Sharon says, it's not a question. It's a thank you for the honesty and insight. You're welcome. And Barry says, you could do some A/B testing to see which call to action converts the best. And I will respectfully, Barry, disagree with you strongly. Here's why. So, A/B testing is probably a waste of time for most people. Additionally, if you do A/B testing, and Sharon said that she didn't have much traffic on her site, if you don't have a big enough sample size, your A/B testing is not going to be very statistically significant is the right word. So don't try and do A/B testing if you don't have enough traffic. And don't worry about it. Just say, check out the price on Amazon. Don't, like, who cares about your call to action? It doesn't matter that much. You're better off spending time somewhere else. If you you won't be able to like change your conversion rate in like a super meaningful way if you don't have enough traffic and you're just trying to tweak the conversion rate. You should work instead on getting more traffic to your site. So, Barry, you're right. A/B testing could be done. I believe the value is quite low in the context that she's asking. All right. Daniel says, how do you know that a backlink to your site is spam by your competitor after checking it out on Ahrefs? That is a tough question. I think you would have to look at the individual links and see like what's going on. I've seen, PBNs linked to some of my sites. I've seen just garbage links out there as well. So you kind of just visually have to go check and look at it. There are some tools out there that, they're supposed to detect bad links, but I mean, even those are generalizing and they may or may not be accurate. So I think you would still have to go look in a manual way and make a judgment call on it. Like, do you want that link to your site? Michelle says, oh, thanks, Michelle, for this. You used to get reminder updates in your Gmail account before a webinar started, but that stopped about a month ago. Maybe why less people are watching the live version. And just to be clear, Michelle, are you talking like webinars proper or the live streams like this? And it's interesting to note because I realize, Michelle, that I've heard from various people that the notifications that come out, they don't always come out like early. And like when I start, sometimes they come like 30 or 40 minutes after I start. And then I know I don't check my email constantly. So I imagine some other people are doing it as well. And they just don't check as quickly. So, and the other part is like, if I don't schedule it far ahead of time, maybe fewer people attend just in general. Okay. So thanks, Michelle, for that. Appreciate the insight. Okay. And Daniel says you read somewhere that backlinks from a site with a DA below 25 will create a small drop in rankings before it increases the rankings. You don't think it's a hard and fast rule, though. Here's a problem. In a lot of ways, the DA value, like the Moz like backlink database, like sucks. It's really bad. So if you compare it to Majestic or Ahrefs, they're operate like Moz is operating in 2013, 2012, and the other companies have like innovated and done a better job. So I mean, I think the DA value is value. I guess the value has to be like carefully looked at, I guess. Dcard says, create a subdomain, hammer it with links, and your DA will go up. It worked great in 2015, but it's 2018. You shouldn't even care about DA and PA. Yep, Dcard, you're right. I mean, the problem with like a few of the questions that came in today, it's like you're looking at you're looking at a metric, like you're trying to adjust a metric, and you need to look at the results that you're trying to get and then work backwards from there. So if you're just trying to, and I know Danish, like I know that you understand, but sometimes, like I said, the questions that come in, it's like we're trying to, do things that don't matter when, your goal is actually something else. Like focus on your goal. Maybe you can find an easier way to do it, a more direct way to do it. All right, quick note. If you're interested in improving your productivity, I have a course out. It's a beta version. Check out the link in the description. And if you haven't liked the video and I've answered your question, please hit the thumbs up. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate that as well, too. And I think the questions are slowing down a little bit, but let's see what we have. Danish says, is it fine to pull images from Amazon using its image link since you don't have the APA as yet? No, it's not. You shouldn't do that. And Barry says, yeah, you need decent traffic to do A/B testing. Correct. And I think, you have to have a lot of traffic and you have to treat A/B testing, conversion rate optimization, as like a process, an ongoing process. So it's like you can't just, do a couple A/B tests. I think you have to keep hammering at it like over and over again. John says, oh, nice question. So for blog comment backlinks, do you write a comment from scratch or do you use a template? It depends. I think, occasionally, depending on the query that I use, it could be something where you could just make like sort of a general comment, which would actually apply. However, if you use a template, then probably should be careful to make sure it's customized, right, for each of the areas. Cool. And Adam says, what's the best call to action? There's no best call to action. Yeah, in general. So the question more specifically is check price or check out product better? The second one seems less pushy. In general, I prefer like less pushy, but those are both appropriate, I think. So, and the other thing I'll add is I don't use buttons. I don't like them. So I just use text links. But if you want to use buttons, that's cool. Some people say they're great and that's all they use. But me, I just use the text links. Any other questions out there? All right. A couple things I'm working on here. So as I mentioned, got the productivity course out there, it's just going to be open until end of day tomorrow. But one of the case studies I'm going to cover is like the YouTube, like all this content that I published in the last month in February. The results were good. A lot of watch time went up, more subscribers. I was hoping something was going to pop. I was hoping one or two videos out of the roughly 60 would really take off within the month. Now, I have some traction on a couple of them, and it's interesting to see. I've heard and I've seen this a couple of times where, a video can get a little traction early on, but then like after a month, that's sort of when it really takes off. The sort of like the frustrating and interesting part, it's sort of the same. I think a lot of people have said that they started a niche site. They're like, my content's better, it's more thorough, I'm actually an expert in the topic, and I don't know why these other sites are ranking better. And I see this in YouTube as well. So I feel like I'm one of the better sort of practitioners of the Amazon affiliate marketing area, and the people who are ranking the highest in the Amazon affiliate, like how to build a site type topics, they pretty clearly don't have like very successful Amazon sites. So there's a few, if you just look around in Google, like outside of your account, don't be logged in or use like an incognito window. And I've done this a couple times. And I saw a video where it was someone who has a software company that helps you like rank your sites, or sorry, rank your YouTube videos on YouTube. And I think it gets people to view the videos as some sort of a social network where people view the video. So he moved up into like the number 3, number 2 position within like a few weeks. Pretty sure he's never done such a site. And there's no real information in the video. He's just trying to push people to his software. The point is, it's a little frustrating because I know that a lot of my content is more thorough. I won't say that it's better, but at least it's more thorough. And I think I have a lot of results driven information, and a lot of other people don't have results driven information. They have theoretical stuff. Anyway, so I was hoping that one of the videos would pop. I think it may take a little time. I'm just got my fingers crossed. I'm hopeful. And I'm also going to, not just cross my fingers. I'm doing other stuff too, but hopefully one or two of these videos will pop and do better. Nothing did though. The point is I actually published a lot. I learned a lot. I know topics that people want to hear more about. Okay. Duke mentions that a couple calls to action, learn more in buyer reviews are good calls to action. Very good. All right. And Michelle says the last notification that you got was on January 31st for the newbie does 10K in 6 months live video. You would get a notification from Gmail that appeared in the social tab. Interesting. And then you stopped receiving it. See, and it's weird because I think that YouTube says they will send out notifications sometimes, but it's sort of indicated that if it was like a subscriber that often like watched, like actually followed the links and clicked on the emails and stuff, that would help. Now, I think what could have happened, right? So if people had notifications turned on and then I started publishing 2 videos a day, that gets annoying, right? I don't have very many notifications for channels except like my friends. So I can respect the fact that people don't want to get a notification that I'm publishing another video if they will just go check out my channel later, which I mean, views are up, people are watching it, but maybe they don't want an extra notification and email. So maybe me publishing so much actually like reduce the notifications that were sent out. Just a theory. I have no clue. All right, Barry is out of here. See you later. And Liz says, you agree with my statement. Thanks. That's always good to hear. I'm the only one that you know of that promotes the Amazon affiliate sites and, and is doing it successfully. It builds trust. Thanks. Yeah, I think, that's what I'm trying to do, I guess, overall. And I try to stick in the areas which I know. And I mean, like to create the content and actually have like results to show, it's a lot easier to create the content. It feels a little more ethical. And to be honest, I think the other folks who are doing well in the topic area, I think they are, not that age matters, but they're quite a bit younger than I am. So I think they may be more they may just be more like marketers than anything else. And I have a corporate background. So I think a couple things happen. I think I end up self-selecting an audience where they appreciate the results in the way that I'm reviewing it. And the people that don't, well, they wouldn't be good um, like customers for me just in general. So I think it kind of self-selects. And Santiago's out of here. Have a good weekend. See you later, man. All right. Any other questions out there? So anyway, Trying to trying to fill time. A lot of times the questions keep rolling in here. So yeah, I'll be doing a little more content. And since we have a handful of people on. So last month at the end of January, I did a like my favorite things. I think I called it January favorites. Some of my YouTube friends, they do sort of a wrap up. Did you all like that session or not like it or anything like that? Uh, because I took some notes on, you know, stuff I liked over the month of February. So if you like that, it's more vlog style. Sharon's out of here. See you later. Liz says you have a site that's almost 2 years old and your last two posts ranked in the top 10 right away. You're posting another today and you see if the same results. So thanks for the KGR. Awesome, Liz. That's really cool. And if it'd be cool if you let me know the results of that too. Doug at nichesiteproject.com. And I saw the email pop over here, J&K, by the way. So, all right. Duke says, have I ever had a bunch of keywords dance in and out of the SERPs / data centers? If so, how long for them to settle down? The site is 3 months old. The answer is yes. And I have sometimes, I think it never stops. I think it depends on the keywords. And I have seen this like back a few years ago where like a term for, I don't know, like as long as I was monitoring, it wasn't on my site, it was on a client's site, but it would bounce up to like number 2, 3, 4, something like that, pretty high, get a lot of traffic, pretty competitive term, and then it would drop down to like 80. And it did this a couple times a week for a very long time. And it was an age site. So I think there may be some terms that always do that. Now, keep in mind that was a long time ago. As far as like bouncing up and down, I think once you hit past like the sandbox period, I think like once you're beyond the 6 months, I think things can stabilize. I'm sure there's many factors involved. Maybe it's, links to your site in general, maybe to the specific pages. I'm purely speculating on this stuff. But I would say like after the sandbox period, after 6 months, I would expect things to like settle down a bit. I forgot I'm trying to drink water here, trying to rehydrate from yesterday. All right. Cool. Any other questions? I can keep rambling on here over and over again. Yeah, so just try any book recommendations. I'm gonna be in the car for a little while in the next couple weeks. I usually don't do audiobooks, but I'm probably gonna have like, I don't know, like 20 plus hours in a car. So I do like audiobooks, but I just haven't been, making it a priority. I'm reading like actual print books a lot more or on my Kindle. But anyway, I'm going to be in the car a lot. Any book recommendations, let me know. I may check them out. I may do some biographies. May check out some biographies. And Liz mentions might try updating the page with new content, images, and video. And I think that was directed towards Duke. And yeah, actually, that's one of the great things to do. So Duke, maybe if you haven't tried it, then you can give it a shot. All right, it looks like maybe we have a few other people that just hopped on. Sabir, good to have you on. Fazil says, how soon should you start building backlinks for a new domain? As soon as possible is, general. And Adam says 4 habits of highly effective people. Is that the 7 habits or is this the abridged 4 habits? Because if I could just do 4, that's better than having to do the other 3. But who's it by, Adam? Which author? Sabir says, for competition measurement, which factor should you consider first, PA or DA? I think PA, because you're trying to beat a URL, not a whole domain. So if I had to pick one, then PA. And then Adam says, yes, it is. It is in fact 7. It's kind of like, it reminds me of I think it was on There's Something About Mary. Anyone see that movie? You guys remember that movie? Um and there there was there was the hitchhiker. They were talking about like 8-minute abs and then 7-minute abs. I'm gonna have to rewatch the movie, but it reminds me of that. It's like the 4 habits of highly effective people. It's just, why not go for the 4 instead of the 7? And Liz says, have I heard of Quora? I'm not sure. Can you tell me more about it? I don't think so. And then Hernan says, Flow by Mihal Csikszentmihalyi. I forget how to pronounce that name. I've heard of that book. It's referenced in a few of the others I've read. That could be a good one. Thank you. Then Adam says, yep, it's a Covey book. I saw that. Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz is really cool. Awesome. John mentions Rich Dad Poor Dad. I haven't read it, but I've heard a lot of it. Heard a lot about it, rather. Ravi is on. What's up? Duke says, you've heard of Quora. You're planning on using it once you're done with your current content blitz. So yeah, I guess I haven't heard of Quora. It looked familiar, but I guess I haven't. All right. It looks like, thank you for the book recommendations, by the way. I'm going to see what I can find in the audio book area there. And Peter has to go. I think I'm going to get going here too. Thanks everyone for joining up. And if you've hung on this long, thanks. If you're watching the replay, leave me a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to like answer additional questions in future sessions and stuff like that. Okay, and Liz says, Chorus says it's a software that compares your page to top ranking pages and gives you recommendations. Oh, cool. Interesting. Okay. It shows you the top 100 and shows correlation. Interesting. Cool, cool. I may have to check that out. All right, Liz, have a good one. Bastian, you're welcome. Thanks. Hi. Yeah, I just took your lunch and it looks like I'm getting a spam call. All right. All right. Okay. Got to go. Thanks, everyone. And we'll catch you next time.